Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Freedom. Today, I have a very special guest. She's so amazing, and the work that she's doing is very remarkable. She is a speaker. She's a best-selling author. She's a world-renowned spiritual healer, Anastasia Gerali. Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Freedom. I'm super excited to be here.
You're welcome. For those people who don't know who Anastasia is, please tell us more about yourself.
Sure. So born and raised in South Africa.
Yeah.
However, I'm currently on a bit of a world tour. So at this very moment, I'm in Costa Rica. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I am also a woman that has gone through my own sort of healing journey and up-leveling journey. And that was essentially, it was my own pivotal moment, which I'm sure that we're going to discuss during our call today, that led me down this path of self-improvement, of raising my spiritual and wealth consciousness, and now helping others to do the same.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get into the amazing work that you're doing, can you please just give us more of your background? How was it like growing up in South Africa? And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was born and raised in South Africa. I'm a child of immigrants, so my parents are Greek. And I left South Africa just after matric. That was 20 years ago now. Yeah, so it's been a minute. But yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Africa is in my blood. It is in my past lives as well. It is not at all a coincidence that I was born in the place and the location that I was born in, as I believe that it's never a coincidence for any soul, the path that they're on. And yeah, after I left South Africa, I studied in the UK. I set up multiple businesses while I was in Cyprus, which is a Mediterranean island. And for the last really decade or more, I would say I've been based between London and Cyprus.
Okay.
And I'm currently on a world tour. So there is no permanent base. There's just temporary bases.
Wow. Wow. And I've been following you, and I've been so tell us more about the you like, I'm assuming that you like to travel. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked traveling, but in truth, I haven't traveled as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
I am someone who in the past definitely wanted to travel with someone. So I was always waiting, I guess, to be in relationship to start my travels.
Yeah.
But last year I uncoupled with my husband, and I kind of just answered my own prayer and said, well, if I want to go traveling, I'm going to take myself traveling. So hence the solo world tour.
I get that's so amazing. Please tell us more about the work that you're doing by a world-renowned spiritual healer. Please share with us.
Yes, thank you. So I am a medicine woman, but I'm also a trained clinical hypnotherapist and life coach. And the work that I do is essentially helping people to heal, release, rewrite anything that is keeping them stuck, anything that is keeping them limited, anything that is keeping them in uncomfortable situations, whether that's personally or professionally, and helping them raise their value, their spiritual and wealth consciousness, so that they can create a life of overflow in all areas of life. I love talking about money and love, because the link between those two is so clear, and once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yes. What is it most that you like about being a spiritual healer?
I mean, there I can't really answer that question. It's part of my being. It's like asking someone like, what is it that you like about being human?
Yeah.
I believe that all of us are multidimensional beings, and spirituality is an integral part of being able to tap into your higher consciousness and
Yes.
into your super genius. You know,
Yeah.
if you are someone who has been called and who is interested in expanding yourself beyond societal and human limitations, because this journey, if it has taught me anything, it's that we are limitless.
Wow.
The amount of love that you can experience, pleasure that you can experience, the amount of money that you can make, the amount of collaboration and contribution that you can give to your community, to this world,
Yeah.
is limitless. And once you understand and you remove those limitations, we're really talking about creating a life that is bigger, better, more expansive than anyone's told you that you were capable of, and that you have believed up until now is available to you.
What kind of advice would you give to someone who's actually having tough time, who's struggling, who's going through a lot? What kind of advice would you give to that person who's going through that?
I would say if you're in that space, because I've been in that space, right? That was the time and the place that really helped me to tap into the beginning of where I'm currently at now. Seek support. You do not need to DIY your healing. You do not need to have all the answers. Support is always, always available. And really, finding the right teacher, mentor, therapist, healer to support you through that difficult time. If you're experiencing a sort of dark night of the soul, you can speed up the process and make it so much lighter with support, because the truth is that we can't see our own blind spots.
Very
Right.
true.
And it's very easy for us to stay stuck
Yeah.
in unhealthy or unsupportive situations if we don't give ourselves permission to seek support. And I think that this is something that as adults, we think that because I'm an adult, I should be able to figure this out by myself. And
Yeah.
no man is an island. You're not here to do things by yourself. You're here to live in society and to connect with people. It's part of your soul's ascension and evolution.
Please tell us more about the importance of having a mentor or a coach, someone who's gonna show you the way.
Well, this is it. It's exactly like you said. They're going to show you the way, right? They're going to show you
Yes.
one possible way.
Yeah.
And I think finding someone that whose story resonates with yours is the evidence that we need to show us what's possible for us, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely finding a mentor or a guide, whether you work with them, whether you get to work with them closely or even from a distance, it will just simply speed up the process of you achieving what they've been able to achieve, or achieving what you're capable of achieving as well. I think mentorship personally far outweighs education.
Oh,
Just as
tell
I
me more.
believe,
Tell me more about that.
it just blew your mind, right?
Yeah.
I think mentorship far outweighs education, because if we say that education is everything, then we are limiting certain outcomes and possibilities to the people that just don't have access to certain levels of education or certain types of education. And again, I find that limiting. In fact, the most successful entrepreneurs and business people out there, inventors, creators, they may not have had traditional education, right?
Yes.
Maybe they just had an apprenticeship or the right mentorship to
Mm.
help them tap into their super genius. Experience will always, always, always outweigh education for me.
Oh, that's powerful. Yeah. Gerali, you've just spoken about entrepreneurship. How do you deal with rejection? Because as an entrepreneur, I'm assuming that you encounter a lot of rejection. So how do you deal with it?
Yeah. So rejection is a part of not just business and entrepreneurship, but a part of life. And
Yes.
the truth is, like, if you haven't found a way to reframe rejection, then don't become an entrepreneur because that is a life full of pain. Entrepreneurship is really the fast track to personal development. Like when you decide to become an entrepreneur, you
Sorry, Gerali, can you hear me? Yeah, we lost you for a moment. Please continue.
that's okay. So if how do you handle rejection when you
Yes, how
become
do
an
you deal with
entrepreneur?
it? Yeah.
If you are not ready to find a new reframe or a new way to
You were sharing with
so
us. Okay, continue.
rejection and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. If you are not ready to heal from how you perceive rejection,
Yeah.
then entrepreneurship is not for you. But I absolutely do believe that entrepreneurship fast tracks your personal development because
Yeah.
there's certain skills and abilities that you have to develop, as well as certain traits and certain, wounds and traumas that you're going to need to heal from if you want to be successful in business. And the truth is that, rejection doesn't only happen in business. Rejection happens in every area of your life, in your personal relationships, in your interpersonal relationships. And the rejection that we feel in business has very little to do with business and so much more to do with your childhood traumas. And that's
Oh,
why I perceive it as a personal rejection when, there's good deals and bad deals. There's deals that you're going to say yes to, and there's deals that you're going to say no to, and it has nothing to do with the person. So yeah, rejection, I think, is one of the biggest fears that keeps people from even stepping into entrepreneurship
yes.
because they feel possible failure. Failure is the biggest rejection. They
Yeah.
do fear being rejected, their product, their service being rejected or not doing as well as they'd hoped. And they take that as a personal rejection. And it has nothing to do with your person and everything to do with how you perceive it.
Oh. You've just spoken about something, childhood trauma. I want to know more about that.
So childhood trauma is something that each and every single one of us has. Some people have big traumas and some people have small traumas. Obviously, the big traumas are very easy to identify, which is why we recognize them. But the small traumas, or in therapy, what we call little T's, the compounding of small traumas has, dare I say, almost a bigger effect on your life than if you had a big trauma that you have been able to process, that you have been able to heal from, because we completely disregard the importance or the effect of compounded small traumas.
Oh, I'm learning a lot, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first time hearing about childhood trauma. I didn't know a lot about it, and thanks for sharing.
Yeah, childhood traumas are essentially what develops your personality, right? It's your experience during the formative years, so 0 to 7 years old, when your brain is a little sponge and all
Yeah.
you're doing is taking in information. You still haven't formed any opinions about the world. You still don't understand the world. So
Yeah.
in those formative years, all you're doing is gathering information, and all the experiences that you have had in those years, your subconscious mind will attach a meaning to it. So something as simple as, mom not having time for me when my little brother was born, that could
Yes.
be interpreted as a rejection. And then maybe the other kids at school not wanting to play with me for whatever reason. Again, that is interpreted as another rejection. And other things as well, like maybe I was spanked for being naughty. That was interpreted as a rejection. And then that is something that will form the basis of your personality. And then you will spend the next years into your teens essentially validating these beliefs that I'm not
Oh,
good enough. That's why I keep getting rejected. And then
oh,
that becomes part of who you are as an adult, that you keep thinking and feeling that you're not good enough. I'm not good enough for this job. I'm not good enough for this relationship, right?
so what are some of the steps or advice would you give to someone who may be going through that?
Everyone is going through it, right? To
Oh,
different degrees. To
okay.
different degrees. If it is something that is negatively impacting and influencing your relationships, your life, then that is where you know that you need to do something about it.
Mm,
If your fears are keeping you from pursuing the lifestyle, the career, the relationship, the finances that you dream and desire,
yeah.
then that is when you need to do something about it if you want to. Otherwise, you can continue this perpetual cycle of pain and suffering and struggling,
Mm,
because that is more familiar. So for many people, because it's familiar, that's just the way that life is. They will keep repeating certain patterns. They will keep feeling certain emotions over and over and over again until the day that they die. If,
oh,
however, you have a higher level of self-awareness and you recognize that I have this fear that is keeping me from doing the thing that I want to do. For example, like I want to be a public speaker, I want to speak on stage, but
yeah,
I find it uncomfortable even speaking my truth to my friends and family. There's a conflict there of interest, right? If
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
speak the truth to 5 people, how are you going to speak your truth to 5,000 people on a stage?
yes. Ah, that's so that's so powerful. That's so powerful. Anastasia, how do you define success?
How do I define success? That is a great question. Thank you so much. I often have an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
There are five types of people according to human design, which is a little bit like astrology. It takes your date and place of birth, and based on that will determine like which of these 5 types of humans you are. Now, happiness, I do not believe that happiness is a sustainable state that we are here to pursue, because for me, happiness is a feedback emotion. It's a transitional emotion, right? We get to experience happiness when we're doing things that we enjoy, or when we're doing things that feel good.
Yeah.
That will trigger happiness in your body to let you know, I want more of this, right? This
Yeah.
was fun. This is what I want more of.
Yeah.
But the pursuit of happiness is not a vibrational state that we can sustain and maintain over long periods of time. So according to human design, we all have a unique blueprint or a unique vibrational state or emotional state that we can pursue. I am a manifester, for example. So my
Okay.
unique vibrational state is peace. If you're a generator or a manifesting generator, then your unique emotional state is, to feel content, to feel success. If you are a projector or a reflector, then you have satisfaction, or you have I forgot the other one. Anyway, not important.
Okay.
So the great thing about this vibrational state is that it's not a line. Like happiness is a line, like you're either happy or you're not happy.
Yeah.
Whereas peace is a band. So within that band, I have so much more capacity to flow with like more peace or less peace. So as long as I feel at peace, I know that I'm living in alignment with my power. Therefore, for me, that's a successful life. If I feel at peace with my finances, then I know I'm successful. If I feel at peace with my relationships, then I know that I'm successful. But for you, for example, if you were a generator, I'm just guessing, your vibrational state would be satisfaction. So your question would be, am I satisfied with my finances? Am I satisfied with my relationships? Am I satisfied? So do you see how that for me is the recipe to success, not happiness? Did I just blow your mind a little bit?
And then failure. Does failure exist?
No, there's a lesson in everything. I don't actually use the terminology failure, but according to human design, there is a red flag emotion that shows you that you're not living in alignment with your design. So for example, my red flag emotion is anger. If I feel angry or I feel resentful, that for me is my feedback that I'm not living in alignment with my potential, right? If you were a generator, I'm just hypothesizing here, then yours would be frustration. If you feel frustrated with your life, with your relationship, with your business, with your this, with your, then that means that you're not living in alignment with your potential. So that, I guess, you could almost replace the word failure with whatever that emotional state is. Like if you feel resentful, if you feel angry, if you feel frustrated, if you feel confused, then this is your feedback that you're not living in alignment with your truth and with your potential.
And I think I've lost my train of thought. And one thing I didn't mention, ladies and gentlemen, she's a best-selling author. Please tell us more about your book. Where can we find it?
Thank you. So I co-authored. This was not a solo book, but my solo book will be out very, very soon. I co-authored a book called Manifesting Queen with 24 other women, where we essentially just tell our story of how we use the law of attraction to manifest the life, the finances, the career of our dreams. So that became a best-selling Amazon book within the first week, and it's also been featured in Forbes. You can find it on Amazon, or you can find it on lulu.com. I'm more than happy to share the link with you if that is something that you would like to share with your audience.
Okay, thank you. And what are some of the most important lessons that you've learned in life?
Gosh,
five. Share five.
That's quite a lot. Five is quite a lot. Okay. I think the first one is absolutely learning the art of surrender. To learn to surrender, to learn to detach yourself from certain outcomes and certain results will not only remove that pressure, that self induced pressure that we create, but also alleviate disappointment from your life, you know, because things work out according to a bigger picture, according to a divine plan. And maybe at the time you can't see the reason, but in hindsight or in retrospect, once you've passed that storm, things make sense. So the art of surrender, number one. Number two is stop being so hard on yourself. Stop being cruel to yourself. If you find yourself self-abandoning, self-denying, what you're doing is rejecting yourself. And a lot of people will do this if they're people pleasers, or they feel obligated to say yes to things that they don't want to say yes to. And that again has to do with childhood trauma. So that requires reparenting yourself. Again, like healing from your conditioning. If you've been taught to listen and taught to obey and taught to be and act and do things in a certain way that isn't natural to the way that you want to do things, you're always going to experience this internal conflict.
Yeah.
Number 3, meditate. You absolutely need to give yourself, your spirit, your mind, your soul space and time to reflect. So if sleep is rest for the body, meditation is rest for the mind. And the way that I view meditation as well is prayer is when we talk to God. Meditation is when God talks to us. So it's in meditation that we can receive so much guidance and so much peace and so many downloads that we're consciously looking for.
Okay.
Number 4 is spend time in nature. Absolutely spend time in nature.
Okay.
From ourselves and from our body, because we're so disconnected from nature. Nature brings us closer to God. Nature brings us closer to ourselves.
Yeah.
And number 5, I'm going to come back to what I started with, like find a mentor, teacher, find a guide, a therapist, someone that can support you in your journey. If you know that you're meant for more, if you know that you want more, we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So make sure that you're being really, really selective about who you are allowing into that space. And personally, because I'm a high achieving woman, I always try to surround myself with people that are and I'm putting this in inverted commas, better than me. I don't believe that anyone is better or worse. I just mean people that are more advanced in their journey.
Is there anything that you would like to share with us that I didn't ask?
I think we covered quite a lot. I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I absolutely will share that I have a phenomenal masterclass, which is called Spiritual and Wealthy as Fuck, The Art of Surrender Manifesting. And I'm sure that you're going to share that in your show notes for anyone that wants to learn a little bit more about the formula that it takes to become spiritual and wealthy as fuck and to step into surrendered manifesting versus controlled manifesting. We don't get to control and push our life. We do, however, get to step into the downstream flow of everything that is destined and designed for us.
Yeah. Do you have any books recommendation? Books that have maybe helped you along the way?
I have so many books. How long do you have? I have so many books. I think a great place to start if you want to understand more about your trauma, or want to understand more about the symptoms, I guess, of unhealed trauma is, and this was Louise Hay is one of my angels and guardians and mentors. And the first book really that I picked up to learn about this type of work is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. So in that book, it talks about how the physical symptoms that develop in our body, like disease, pain, different ailments.
I can't